guys, Jay here. Welcome to EonsOfBattle. I have quite the project roster on my plate for 2026. One of them, though, I've already made some pretty decent progress on. Early in January, I went to my local club and I signed up for their 40K League, which is going to be 5 games played over the course of the next couple of months. And I decided that I was going to do my Black Templars. My Black Templar army is a little bit of a mess. I have almost everything for the Space Marines, but the real problem is I have like one of everything for the Space Marines, which does not make a very competitive Warhammer list. So I decided I was gonna do my Black Templars, and I've been working on them every single night, spending a little bit of time on these guys to get some of the things that I want up and running. Chief among them, my third squad of Sword Brethren, and they're coming along great. I've got them about 50% done now. And I started working on a second Gladiator Lancer. What stuck to you? Oh, the antenna. I love this guy. I put this guy together forever ago. It has been a slog. I started buying Primaris vehicles like 2 years ago. And right now I've got 2 Gladiator Lancers, 2 Impulsors, and a Repulsor. Right now, this is the only one that's painted up. But man, I really painted this guy up. The kit bashing and converting on this sucker, I didn't like the original laser destroyer that was on the kit, and so I actually designed my own in Vectorworks. The file for this is actually available on EonsOfBattle.com, and I really like it. I designed it off of some of the old Horus Heresy models that actually do have laser destroyers, and so I feel like this gun looks quite a bit more like a proper las cannon that's rerolling a hit, rerolling a wound, and it may or may not reroll the damage roll. The Lancer is a really good choice for the Space Marines if you actually want to deal some serious anti-tank, and that's kind of the only thing missing with my Black Templar army. So I got these Sword Bros in the works, I've got a second Gladiator Lancer in the works, and if I manage to get all of this stuff done, which I bet I can before the first game, I'm gonna use this Progressive League to get me to put together more Black Templars. I would love some more just good old-fashioned, Maz old-fashioned Assault Intercessors. I would also really like some of those new, the Execrator character, the Chaplain, who has 2 close combat weapons, and he gets to use both close combat weapons. He also grants the squad Advance and Charge, which is really nice because I don't think I'm gonna be using any of the actual Black Templars detachments, which is a little bit sad, but they're just not very good. To get the most Templar out of Warhammer 40,000, I don't know, I'm kind of feeling Gladius or maybe the White Scars detachment, but I'm not sure yet. And then that detachment gives free Advance and Charge. I don't know yet, but I do know that I need some more minis, and so I am hard at work at some more Black Templar minis. 2026 is gonna be the year of the Black Templars, but it's also gonna be a year of a lot of other things. Inside of this box, card sleeve, is an entire Eldar army for Warhammer 40,000. I bought this at the last Midwest mini swap because I wanted to get rid of my Genestealer cult because I was not having fun playing the Genestealer cult, but I think I'll have a little bit more fun playing the Eldari. And the real reason that I picked this up is because one booth was selling a whole bunch of the, what are you called? These are Warwalkers, but they're not really Warwalkers. They are the Forge World version, the Hornets. These guys come with a different canopy, these extra cool back fins, and jetpacks. I'm gonna use them just as Warwalkers in game, but I got 6 of these suckers. 6 of these Forge World models that you cannot buy anymore. And so that is going to be the linchpin of my force, 6 Warwalkers. The rules that go along with these guys is what they shoot at. Everything else in my army gets +1 AP against what they shot at. And so with 6 of these guys, 3 squads of 2, I'm gonna have to put together an army that can really take advantage of that extra AP. So I'm actually thinking not as many Phoenix Lords and those types of units. Instead, I think I'm gonna be going heavy into Dire Avengers, Swooping Hawks, and bikes. I also have so many bikes in this box. They got some chunky paint on them right now, but eventually they will be glorious, clean, crispy bikes. And I'm not sure on the paint scheme yet. Eldar have a lot of really cool paint schemes. I kind of do like this blue. There's also Mimera, which is like a tealy blue into a green, which is a really nice color scheme. And also, what is the name of that world ship. What are the Eldar colors called? The craft worlds. That's like a creamy white with vines creeping all over it. That would be a lot of freehanding, but if I got all this room on these lovely bikes and on these war walkers that are called hornets, that could be a really, really cool looking army. I got rid of my Gene Stealer cult because it's just so many models that die so easily. It's such a fussy finesse army. Eldar is probably an even more finesse army, but it's a lot less guys. So hopefully it'll be a little bit like my Dark Eldar, in that it's really, really fun when it's all popping off and working really, really nicely. And then when I lose really, really fast. Sometimes so fast that we can just play another game. So I am feeling the Eldar. I got some Howling Banshees. If anybody remembers the Dawn of War 2 trailer? No, the Dawn of War 3 trailer. Not a very good game, but the trailer was really, really cool. And there's a great shot of the Howling Banshees emerging from the Wraithstone or the Wraith bone buildings. And their armor is like this crusty, like xenomorph texture. Really like the Howling Banshees. And I got a whole bunch of Rangers. These guys are really, really cool. I played against these guys one time in game. My opponent tried to move block me with the Rangers, but they did it in the wrong order. And so I ended up just blowing them up. But the Eldar are really, really neat. I like the idea of painting some actually perfect minis. No battle damage, no paint chipping, no oil wash. Just trying to paint these guys as clean and as crisp as possible. An entire Eldar army. I technically got an army's worth of 40k done last year. I think I painted 5,000 points all scattered across all of my different army projects. But I bet I could get 2,000 points of Eldar running in not too much time. The contents of this box are about 15,000 points of Eldar, so I gotta make some decisions on what I want in the rest of the army. But another army project that is basically all decisions right now is this box. I have been painting up a ton of Chaos Space Marines, and I've really been enjoying it. Now I have read every single Chaos Space Marine data sheet. I have painted up almost every single color of Chaos Space Marines. A lot of them are black and a lot of them are red, but a lot of them are other interesting colors. And so I've kind of gone down a chaos rabbit hole that has led me to this box. Inside of this box is the Great Brass Scorpion. This is a really, really cool model. A classic old school Forge World Chaos Space Marine mega vehicle. I mean, it's what it says on the tin. It is a Great Brass Scorpion. It's got some really, really cool guns, some really, really cool pincers. It's got a scorpion-shaped body, and I think it is going to be the beginnings of a Chaos Space Marine army. I was trying to decide what warband, what colors, what chapter of Chaos Space Marines do I want to do. I already have Death Guard. I love my Death Guard, but I also like just normal vanilla chaos. I've really enjoyed some of the novels like the Night Lords trilogy and Lords of Silence, where you get to just kind of meet the Chaos Space Marines as people. And they're a little bit more interesting than the regular Space Marines because they don't hold themselves to like the Honor and the Imperium. They're kind of just guys. And I like the idea of having an army of just guys, but they're still Space Marines. And so the Great Brass Scorpion is going to be the start of that, or maybe the end of that. I don't know. This is the only Chaos Space Marines that I have, other than all of the individual guys that I've been painting up. But what I'm thinking is, instead of picking a color scheme, I'm just going to get the units that I want and then paint them whatever way feels most appropriate or looks the coolest. So if I'm gonna do like Havocs, I would probably do them Iron Warriors. If I'm going to do Raptors, I would probably do Night Lords. And I just want to, like, during the Black Crusades, a lot of the different Chaos Space Marine warbands all work together, and you just get different colored Space Marines all working together for the greater good of destroying the Imperium. And so I think that's what I want to do with my Chaos Army. Although for this Brass Scorpion, I'm thinking Iron Warriors. I'm thinking dull gray metal with a lot of hazard striping. This guy, it's a really, really big model. This is his foot. This is his foot. It's about 3 times as big as a regular Space Marine. It's been a while since I have undertaken a proper Forge World Titan, and this guy, he's on the smaller end of Titans, but he's not the only Titan in my pile of shame. This box contains a Warhound Titan. It's contained a Warhound Titan for a very long time. I painted up my Reaver Titan, my Stompy, and he won me a commended entry for Golden Demon. He was this close to maybe possibly placing for Golden Demon. And like, yeah, he took like 300, 400, 500 hours to do all of the things that made him what he is, but I could do that again, and I could do it again better. And so if I just do it again better, I'd probably have an even better chance of maybe getting myself one of those ugly demon trophies. But it's scary. It took so much work. It was such an undertaking to do Stompy that doing it again with a Warhound Titan, and I would do it again. I want to do Sutrevora. I now have kind of a Sutrevora army because I have a couple of Knights and Stompy done up in those colors. I would like to do it again, and it'd be a fun model. The Warhound Titan, I think, is only like 1,000 points in game. That you can comfortably take a Warhound Titan and another 40k army and have it kind of work on the battlefield. It's Stompy himself is 2,200 points in game, so you can't even play a typical game of 40k while bringing him. But there's something kind of magical about the Warhound Titan. I have all of the guns that I want for my Warhound. Oh, this is also a Plasma Blast gun. This is the actual good gun that you should put on Warhounds, but I have 2 of these. These are the Warhound Inferno Cannon. Each one of these is 3d6 super mega flamethrower attacks. And so if I put it on both arms, that is 6d6 super mega flamethrower attacks and an absolute roulette wheel of what is he gonna do every single turn. But it's gonna be so much fun. I love flamethrowers, and I don't get to use nearly enough flamethrowers because they're usually bad in game. They're not usually bad, but usually the thing that can take a flamethrower can also take a plasma gun, and plasma gun is better than a flamethrower. And I could also do that for the Warhound because I could put plasma guns on his arms, but no. I want to go ultimate silly. I want Inferno cannons. Also goes along with the lore of Sutrevora. Sutrevora, they love flame and fire and burning things, and so I think it makes a lot of sense for the Warhound Titans to have flamethrowers. Do I have the juice? Is it in me to put together another Warhound Titan, or just another Titan in general? It's possible, I could do it, but man, it's an undertaking. I mean, just getting the resin cleaned and ready to be put together is a process, but maybe it's been long enough. Maybe I could find it in me to actually get some paint on another Titan and just maybe try to get a Golden Demon. And if that doesn't happen, I still get a Warhound Titan. So I like those odds. Doing another Titan is an incredible undertaking, but maybe I don't have to put together an entire Titan to get a Titan. Also, at the Midwest Mini Swap, I picked up a copy of Adeptus Titanicus. This is a box of Titans, and a couple of guys at my local game store really like this game, but it's Titans versus Titans. Games Workshop doesn't really make this game anymore. Everything has been rolled into, not Aeronautica Imperialis, what's the 30K Tiny K? I would have gotten into, what is that game called? Legions Imperialis. A name so meaningless I can never keep it in my brain. I mean, Adeptus Titanicus. That's a name right there, and it's Titans. Actually, in this box are 2 Reaver Titans, which is one of the reasons why I really wanted to have this box. Where is he? Get tiny versions of my Stompy. Like, I've put this together. This piece on my Stompy is like 8 inches long. Right here, it's 1.5. It's so tiny, and his little toes and his little shoulder pads. I really want to put together a perfect replica of my Stompy in this scale. And then, I mean, I get to put together another one. I get to do some Warhound Titans that I'm going to be putting all with the heavy flamethrowers. This game looks really cool. And this is a really, really fun way to get to play with some of the biggest models that have ever existed for Warhammer 40,000. And you get to take a bunch of them. And then you get to make them fight other Titans. I am really, really excited for this game. I've never really painted in a smaller scale than 40K. And so it'll be interesting to see if these paint up easier or harder. I would think harder. Well, it's not going to be harder than painting giant Stompy, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get these to look correct. I also got to figure out how to base things in scale. Like, I can't use sand because the grains of sand are going to be like boulders. I'm going to have to find something even finer to put on the bases. But Adeptus Titanicus does look like a lot of fun. I also have a bunch of Aeronautica Imperialis. I'm getting into all of these Games Workshop games well after they've died. But there's some fun to be had. The Aeronautica Imperialis, little spaceships. Who doesn't love a little spaceship? One of my probably still my favorite war game of all time was Star Wars X-Wing in like 2015. That was the world's best miniature war game. And so I want to do that again, but maybe with some 40K styling. Let me know in the comments below if you guys know any good Adeptus Titanicus resources. Like, are there any good websites for the rules and army building and help with knowing how to do the game? There is one other big 40K project on the docket, and it weighs a ton. But you know what else has a ton of awesome stuff available? EonsOfBattle.com. On EonsOfBattle.com, we have all kinds of hobby goodies: army painter paints, speed paints, brushes, wet palettes, basing cork, ultra thick and ultra thin superglue, and we have terrain. It's the best way to support us doing what we do by getting a membership. Each month, members get a credit, good for any one terrain pack we've ever made or the brand new one. New in January, we have created the Tomb Library, a set of hyper-advanced structures designed to quickly get a thematic defensive position up and running on the tabletop. The wall sections create an impenetrable fortress as they crackle with energy, floating just above the battlefield, and following just behind are the sarcophagi, ancient tombs of forbidden power with room to display the aliens' captured trophies in macabre exhibits. This terrain was designed by us and is available now at EonsOfBattle.com. Inside of these boxes, they weigh an absolute ton, and that is because this is all metal Warhammer. Inside of these totes and this cardboard box is an entire 2nd edition Blood Angels army, many thousands of points, probably over 100 individual Space Marine models, and something even juicier in this cardboard box below. But I have been collecting this for years and years and years. Whenever I see a great deal online on like eBay or any of the other secondhand stores, I try to pick up some secondhand Space Marines. It's really challenging because it's actually not that hard to find the bodies, but the weapons, like heads, shoulder pads, backpacks, it's really, really hard to get all of those retro parts because they just get lost over the course of time. These boxes are a time capsule of old school 40K, and I would really, really like to give like 2nd and 3rd edition a try. I started playing 40K in 6th edition, and even from 6th edition to 10th edition, there have been a lot of changes. I want to try out some of the old school rules with the old school models. I want to play like it's 1999, and I can do it with the contents of these boxes. The only thing is, I have been agonizing over what to officially do with these models. A lot of them are Blood Angels because for some reason, a lot of the lots that I've been buying have come with Death Company Marines. And so then I thought, well, maybe instead of just setting the Death Company models off to the side, I do a Blood Angels army. Blood Angels are really, really cool, especially in 2nd edition 40K. There was a really, really interesting thing that they did at the start of the game. You would roll a die for every Marine in your army, and I think on a roll of a 6, they became a Death Company model, and so you would replace them with a Death Company Marine, and they were just much better in game. And it feels like that's such a cool rule. It makes for such an interesting like game. At the start of the game, is my army the army I thought it was? Or is it gonna be a bunch of Death Company models? And like that's gonna change up the way that I play the game immediately. That is super, super cool. But Blood Angels are a little bit boring to me. Maybe it's just my Black Templars preference coming out, but it's just Red Space Marines. It's not that interesting. So then I thought Flesh Terrors. Flesh Terrors to me are the cooler version of the Blood Angels. Still a little bit less interesting in the painting. A lot of black armor. I have so much experience painting black armor, but there is something to the buzzsaw shaped symbol. It would be really, really cool So I'm kind of torn between doing a huge old school Flesh Terrors army or throwing it all out the window and doing the Mantis Warriors. I feel like these old school models would look so cool in a light green and yellow with like bug markings on them. The Mantis Warriors, they just feel retro. I think they're an invention of the Bad Ab War. I do think that they have roots in Rogue Trader, but they really got fleshed out in the Bad Ab War. And I would really like to see that. Like, I would just like to see that army and to see what it looks like. Because my plan is I'm going to take these old models and I'm going to build them relatively faithfully to like what they are. But then I want to take them with the painting and the converting into how good can these old school models look with all of the modern tools, with speed paint, with the airbrush, with oil painting. I want to see I want the best old school army that has ever existed in the world of Warhammer 40,000. It is going to be a humongous undertaking, but speaking of under these two very heavy boxes is another box, and it is a Demonic Legion of Slaanesh. This is an absolutely wild collection. If anybody knows the name Juan Diaz, he was a sculptor for Games Workshop for many years. He sculpted a lot of really cool stuff. He sculpted a lot of the original Tomb Kings. He sculpted a lot of the original the Lizard Men for old school Warhammer Fantasy Battles. And he sculpted everybody's favorite Demonette models. And inside of this box are 80 of them. This is an entire Ziploc baggie of old school Juan Diaz Demonettes, and there's multiple baggies of them. They're all complete, they're all original, they are all glorious. This box cost a pretty penny, but it doesn't exist. Like, no one else has a proper demon army of the old school metal Demonettes. I've got Seekers, I've got some Fiends, I've got 100 old slotted bases that I am not going to be using. I'm gonna have to pin every single one of these. Maybe I will figure out a way to use the slotted bases, because that would make it a lot easier. This is gonna be a tricky army to put together, but I think it would be a really cool army. There's going to be some trickiness in maybe kit bashing and converting some of the characters, because I would like to play this as a modern 40k 10th edition army, just using the classic models that everybody loves. Honestly, I'll probably get this started and done before I get to the Space Marines. Maybe not. It all depends on what strikes me, but right now, the demons have got some juice. I've seen, you'll see pictures of these on Instagram and online, a couple of them, or maybe a squad, but never a full, large army of demons. Demonettes, 10 models, I think 110 points. They have good movement. They have, do they have devastating wounds on their weapons? I think some of the characters can get them devastating wounds on their weapons, but I like Demonettes. I kind of do like the new plastic models. But if I had the option between the new plastics and the old school metals, and I can't believe I have the option, but I'm gonna go with the old school metal. These are all of the big 40k projects that are burning a hole in my pile of shame. A lot of them have been there for years, but a lot of them are relatively new. And it does seem like a lot to get done in 1 year, like a lot. But is it possible? Like, if I really tried hard to get all this stuff done, it could be possible. I mean, there's other stuff too, like I would love to do Blood and Plunder, Conflict 47, Fallout Factions, Moonstone. I gotta get some more of my Moonstone minis done. But you know what, those are in the background. Can I get the 40k stuff done? I don't know, we'll see. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of some of these projects? If any of them got you as excited as they've gotten me? Old school metal Demonettes. I mean, that's just the coolest thing to ever exist. I can't believe that this box exists in the world, and it's right here. It's in my hands. It's gonna be a good year of 40k. Thanks for watching.